everybody, it's Frankie-Lou. I'm coming to you today from the Mountainside Greenhouse where I'm going to do a little seed saving today with squash. You may have seen my previous videos about other types of seed saving, but I thought squash deserved its own special little segment because it is a little different and for a couple of reasons. Now, seed saving is wonderful. It's a way ensuring that your garden is going to be productive for even more than one season because you're able to save your own seeds, pass them on to others, and use them again. When you are seed saving, it's a good idea to use an open pollinated heirloom variety because those do tend to breed true, with a few major exceptions I have found, and squash is one of those. If you are only raising one type of squash, then yes, you're not going to have a problem cutting this open and being pretty sure that it's going to breed true. But if you are growing multiple kinds of squash in a small space, they are notorious for cross-pollination. And I've often said that volunteer plants are your best bet to go with because they have shown that they can adapt to your conditions, but squash might not be the best thing to do that with. Sometimes you might get some really weird combinations. Sometimes it's great, but you might think that you're raising something that's going to be delicious and fleshy, and then the next thing you end up with some sort of weird stringy hybrid. So we currently have 2 spaghetti squash that are growing in the greenhouse in the sky, and this is the first fruit that we took off of one of them. And that's what I would suggest. If you are going to do seed saving from squash in an area where there's multiple squash growing, take that first fruit. We planted our spaghetti squash earlier than the other squash. There were only really 2 spaghetti squash growing in that greenhouse for a while. Therefore, it's probably a safe bet that the seeds from this first fruit from one of those spaghetti squash is going to breed true and produce plants next year that will produce spaghetti squash. Does that make sense? So here we go. It's not that hard to do, really. One point that's really important with any type of seed saving is that you ensure that you are harvesting ripe fruit. If you are harvesting unripe fruit, it's likely that the seeds won't have developed fully enough and will not be viable. Now, I'm gonna rip this open. Okay. Now let's look down here. We waited long enough. These seeds are nice and plump, they're not small, and so they're probably a good candidate for seed saving. I like to let them dry out on parchment paper. Here we have some really great squash seeds, and if we look deep into the cavity here, you can see there's some other nice ones. You want to leave behind these little guys, these little ones that really don't look like they've developed too much, and only pull out nice plump squash seeds like that. Okay, so it's very similar to getting your seeds ready from your pumpkin. See, this one, I wouldn't save this. This is big, but it's flat. It's not plump. It's probably not viable. So I'm going to keep digging around in here, and we'll show you in a second how many seeds we got out. Not going to save any of those. You want to take off all of this gooey stuff. Don't need to keep any of that. And that's one of the reasons I use the parchment paper, because the seeds, even if they do have a little bit of gooey stuff on it, won't stick to it the way that it will with paper towel. Not keeping that one. Okay. All right, so as you can see, we have a nice little batch of seeds here. This is from the one that we call Seymour, which is currently producing 12 different vegetable pods right now, and has been a really good producer for us. Okay, so I hope that was helpful. I hope you'll give it a try because we're going to be able to enjoy this squash tonight. We're going to roast on the barbecue. It'll be delicious. And these seeds, once they're dried out, we're going to put them in a nice airy spot until they dry out fully. And then we're going to store them in nice little coin envelopes, those little paper coin envelopes labeled. And then with these seeds, we'll be able to enjoy this squash for years to come. Alright, so please do give seed saving a try. Do make sure that you send me any questions that you may have. And as always, I hope you'll take this chance to grow together today. Have a good one.